Howdy everybody, welcome back to another Sims, I guess, discussion video. This isn't a lore video, but sort of a discussion video. And it's going to be talking about, the many problems with The Sims 4. The many problems, because this game, especially recently, there's been a lot of problems with this game. A lot of problems. I've discussed a couple of them in my last sort of discussion video where I talked about Skip Broke and what they did with him in The Sims 4. But I wanted to go a little bit more in depth with this video and talk about some of the stuff in this game and sort of stuff wrong with this game and just everything else, because there is so many issues with this game that it is a joke. I've probably not even mentioned all of them in this video. There's probably even stuff I've forgotten about. It's crazy, man, how much like a series can fall from what it once was. This first few games, the first three, they're extremely ambitious. Even the console games, the Sims Busting Out, you had, all these others that they were unique. They each had something special about them, and they each had a level of passion put into them. And you compare that to what The Sims currently is, and it's just soulless, man. It's, I think they're even using AI from some stuff as well. It's shocking how much something can fall. Those original three games, they each did something different, And without further ado, let's get on with the video. Yeah.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping!
Now, just getting started with this and with The Sims 4 and what's going on with that, I'm one of these people who just fully believes that The Sims 4 was just kind of doomed from the start. It was doomed from the start because originally it was going to be a multiplayer game, and then of course EA had that issue with SimCity 2013 and everything that came with that, and they quickly tried to change the game to single player, and it came out unfinished. There was multiple things missing. I mean, it's really shocking to go back and look at that 2014 version of the game. Then we've got other stuff, with The Sims currently, like, with the EA buyout. That's a big sort of thing. That's a whole can of worms right there, the EA buyout. If you want to see that, there's multiple videos talking about that. I'm an idiot, but yeah, there's multiple videos talking about that. There's even deeper issues when it comes to the Sims community and sort of how certain players are treated and stuff like that by the Sims. And there's a lot deeper issues than what I discuss on this channel, but yeah, there's multiple videos with that sort of talking about that kind of stuff. And then there's also just the fact that The Sims 4, in my opinion, is soulless. From the way the Sims look, the way the furniture in the game looks, everything in the game looks like it's made out of plastic. Everything looks kind of cheap. I don't know, it all looks sort of like there's not much detail to anything. Everything just looks kind of meh. Because obviously it was intended to be a multiplayer game originally. And, a good example of just sort of the downgrade is when it comes to the chess table. Here is a chess table from The Sims 2. Here is a chess table from The Sims 4. Yeah, there's no comparison here. The Sims 2 version is better. And that came out in, 2004? And you've got all these sort of issues with The Sims 4 when they were starting out and stuff like that. Not to mention they changed a ton of the families for whatever reason when it comes to the way the Calientes looked, the way the Goths looked. I'm fully convinced the people making this game didn't know who these people were, because the Caliente sisters look nothing like how they looked in The Sims 2. I mean, they didn't know who they were making, man. I don't think they knew who they were making. Either that, or I don't see why they would do it deliberately. I don't know. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And, now, with the current day Sims 4, You see them being kind of desperate, trying to, do what I said in the last video, nostalgia baiting, trying to nostalgia bait, trying to, bring back all this old stuff. I mean, bro, you're getting beaten out by a game that's 21 years old. You're getting beaten out by a game that's 21 years old. In a way, I'm kind of glad that they set The Sims 4 in its own sort of crappy universe, because then it doesn't connect to The Sims 2. Until they started trying to connect the storylines, like with Skip Broke, where they were trying to connect his death and everything like that. I made a whole video talking about that. And it's just, it's annoying. It's like, leave those games alone. The Sims 1, 2, and 3, I love those 3 games. They are one of my they're my favorite sort of games, The Sims 1, 2, and 3. And I hate that The Sims 4 is trying to get their grubby hands on these characters and trying to change them. And it's like, leave these games alone. Let them be in the past. Let them be these games that people loved and, some people grew up with. Let them be those games. Like, leave them in the past, man. It's because, The Sims 4 is so crappy that they have to, leech off of these old Sims games that people loved. I've also seen The Sims kind of bang off certain Sims creators or Sims YouTubers with free gifts, free luxury items. It is ridiculous, I saw one that was a free goodie bag. It's crazy, man. They're out here giving people luxury items. This is hundreds of dollars of stuff, a t-shirt. There's some crazy stuff going on here. I don't know, man. I don't know what The Sims is trying to do, but they're giving people luxury items handbags. But yeah, some of these Sims content creators, not all of them, definitely not all of them. There are some good people in the community, but there's a lot of them who are sort of two-faced. 1 minute they'll talk about, how bad everything is, the next minute they'll be, talking about the next Sims pack. I'm involved in the next Sims pack. It's dumb. It's dumb. And there's that new, Royals pack or something that's coming out. That's a whole sort of thing going on. I've seen a few complaints about that. Yeah, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues that I'm not qualified to talk about. It's just kind of sad looking back at those original few Sims games. The first 3 games, they really were ambitious. They each did different things. The Sims 1, there was a lot of passion put into that. And, you had all these, it was such a cool game. It was a very difficult Sims game. The Sims 1 is one of the hardest, it's the hardest Sims game. But, to play because of the needs and stuff like that. But there was a lot of passion put into it. And The Sims 2, you can tell with The Sims 2, I feel like that was where the most passion was put in. You had the family trees, you had all these different ancestors. They never had to make any of these characters, but they did. They put all these characters in the family tree. You had the Caliente family. You had aliens in the family. There were Spanish. The dad's side was Spanish. I can't remember what the mom's side was. But, you had different sort of, people from different backgrounds in these, games. You had Don Lothario. He was Italian. You had all these different characters, and they were all just sort of unique, and they all blended together, and they all worked well. You can tell that there was a lot of detail put into that game, especially in terms of the animations, the way the objects look, the way the Sims act, the way they react. Of course, it's not without problems. It's going to have bugs. Every Sims game has bugs. It is known for that. But there was passion. There was soul. There was something there. You could tell that they put a lot of hard work into this. And another sort of thing to say that, how fake The Sims 4 is, and how they try and pretend to be like The Sims 2. Let's take the refreshes, for example. The Caliente family refresh, where they wanted to make them more like their Sims 2 selves. Only they didn't do that. Both Dina and Nina look nothing like how they looked in The Sims, Sims 2. Their personalities don't really line up. And then you have the mother, Katrina. For this refresh, where apparently they were going to be more like The Sims 2, they didn't even give her real name. They didn't even give her real name. In The Sims 2, she had a completely different name, and they just didn't bother giving her that name. Now, her name in The Sims 2 was Nat. I'm not sure how you say it. I've heard different people pronounce it differently, but that was her name in The Sims 2. And, because, you know, the Caliente family tree, there was a ton of different characters on that family tree. There was aliens and stuff. That's never explained in The Sims 4. You wouldn't know that if you'd only played The Sims 4. And, you know, and then they tried to make up some excuse that the mom was actually like a clone. the Caliente sisters, like their mom died, so they cloned her or something. What? What are you talking about? That's like some excuse I'd make. Like, what are you talking about? Did you come up with that in 15 seconds? Like, what kind of lore is that? Where's Flamenco as well? Is he dead too? Why didn't they clone their dad? Where's Flamenco? You know, where's Tango, his brother? Where's any of these characters? It's just... oh my goodness. Then you got the Goth family refresh where they don't even look like the Goths. like Bella. I mean, I think she's a very pretty sim in The Sims 4. I think she's a very pretty looking sim, but she doesn't look like a Bella Goth. It's all over the place, man. There's so many issues when it comes to this game, you know, that I've probably forgotten to talk about, because it's endless. It's like a rabbit hole, man. It's just, it's a rabbit hole of shit. It is endless, man, the amount of issues with this game that, you know, and there's a whole other issues, you know, that I'm not even going to speak about. There's a whole other, much more serious issues than what I'm talking about. Much more serious. And, yeah.
The world will recognize you for the pitiful disappointment you are. You are not worthy of my respect. You are not a god. You are simply bad product.